Some say Chinese is one of the most difficult languages in the world, and learning it is almost impossible.
So learning Chinese, the most difficult thing.
非常非常非常非常非常难
So I'm sort of tone deaf. I can't really hear them.
I think the cultural mindset is the biggest complication for
The
us.
grammar.
知吃思诗都很难
It's just complicated so much.
Only because you're not learning it in the right way. Why not try Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Tony here in the studio. Hi, Tony.
Hey, Honglin. Hello to all of our listeners out there. It's always a pleasure to be on the show and looking forward to learning something to take away today.
Oh, yeah, and very happy to have you here. Actually, from the last episode, we have already started a new series sharing knowledge about studying abroad, precisely studying here in China.
Right.
So if you are listening to the show, if you have an intention to study here in China, yet you have no idea how to do it, actually from these episodes we're doing recently, you would have a better idea. And I feel like studying abroad is a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it gives you a slice of a different culture, a different way of life and living and eating, making friends, and just it's a whole lot of things. Working is also very different, but I think living or studying abroad at least gives you more than what visiting can do.
Yeah, and also actually there are a lot of challenges you have to face and a lot of, I think previously we call them cultural shocks.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's more than shocks. It's like constant adaptation.
Sure.
You meet tiny little challenges, like really detailed ones, almost in a day-to-day basis.
Well, day-to-day sounds really, really traumatic, but it does happen like
But
quite
some
a bit.
of them are like happy surprises. Some of them are not so welcome,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. It's hit or miss. It's pros and cons. It's some days are really great and some days are just like you want to pull your hair out. But that's just what it is. That's part of the experience.
And also, hopefully, after listening to our series, you feel a little more prepared. You have an idea of what, at least at the very beginning, what to start preparing yourself about. If it'll help, hopefully, for our dear listeners. If you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get a grip on the Chinese language and perhaps you'd like to study here in China, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, Learn Chinese, to watch many fun videos and live streams. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway. 你猜怎么着？我收到中国大学的录取通知书了。
恭喜你！你要上哪个大学？
北京语言大学。
太好了，我在北京待了1年了，这里有很多好玩的地方。
可是我现在有点紧张，不知道该准备什么。
不用担心，有我呢。
你猜怎么着？我收到中国大学的录取通知书了。
恭喜你！你要上哪个大学？
北京语言大学。
太好了，我在北京待了1年了，这里有很多好玩的地方。
可是我现在有点紧张，不知道该准备什么。
不用担心，有我呢。
And that's the conversation.
Pretty straightforward. I think that this is a conversation that I think people would have in this context.
Yeah, in a real world scenario. So for the first sentence, 你猜怎么着？我收到中国大学的录取通知书了。
So this is, hey, guess what? I just received an offer from a Chinese university. Yeah. So 你猜怎么 zhe? I know zhe is normally like this.
Actually, that is a different 这 because it's not precisely 这. If you look at the pinyin and the tone mark, you can see there's no tone on it.
Yeah, I didn't see a tone at all.
Because that is 轻声, the light tone, which makes it a particle you put at the end of the sentence, which has no exact meaning.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so it's like 怎么着? For instance, well, actually, you can find this word in other occasions, like 吃着呢. 吃 is eating, 呢 is like asking a question, and this 着 indicates that this action is happening right now. So you're eating right now. It's like saying 吃着呢, look at you, you're eating. 走着回家, I'm going to walk home. 走着, so it's with a little bit that meaning. And here 你 is you, 猜 is guess, 怎么 is what. So 着 is put at the end of the sentence. So it's like, you guess what? It has no actual meaning.
Does it almost have the meaning of 在? Because 在 can also mean something's happening at present, right?
In some occasions, yes, but it's included in the word. So this character is included in the word. 吃着 is a word.
Okay.
So 你猜怎么着 guess what?
All right. And then 我 is I. 收到. This 收到 is receive.
Yes.
Right? And 我 of course is I. 中国, this is China.
China.
大学, I think 学 means study and 大 is like
big.
So it's like a big
University.
study. Must be a school.
Yes.
And then the, so universities. 录取.
录取.
录取. This is admit or
admit.
To get in.
Yes. So 录 carries the meaning of register, whereas 取 is like take. So I'm registering you because I take you as a student here. Kind of with that meaning, admit. 录取.
Okay. And then 通知书.
通知书.
通知书. I think this is some type of notice or letter or right?
通知 is to notice someone. So 我通知你明天不用来了. I'm giving you the notice that you do not have to come back tomorrow. It's like when you're firing someone, you can use that sentence.
Oh, wow.
But 通知, yes, is to notice. Here, 书 we know is book. But actually, 通知书 is the notice itself. It's just a little more formal. And I feel like it dictates a little more information because if you receive a notice sticked on your door with 2 lines of words, I do not think it can be called a 通知书. Maybe it can. It's just, if it's really formal.
Okay. So if it's got 2 lines or whatever, it would just be called 通知.
通知 works.
Okay. But if it has like a long, it's a long letter, and it's very extensive, then 通知书
would be better, yes.
Okay. Okay. It seems like Shu's book, so maybe that makes sense too, right?
In a way, yeah.
Okay.
恭喜你，你要上哪个大学?
And that's congratulations. Which university is it? 恭喜. This is congratulations.
恭喜恭喜. Congratulations. You see this word a lot during festival period, especially the spring festival.
Okay. Yeah, 恭喜发财, right?
That is the word. And also if there is a happy occasion, for instance, if you're attending a wedding or a birthday party, or some people would have graduation party, and you would say 恭喜恭喜 because they have good news, and you say congratulations.
Okay. So 恭喜你, it means congratulations to you, right?
Yes.
And then 你要 is you want. And then 上, I think this means
上大学 actually together is going to university. Yes.
Okay, 哪个 is which, right?
Yes, so going to which university?
Okay, so 上 go 哪个 which, and then 大学 is university.
Which university are you going? 北京语言大学.
So this says it's Beijing Language and Culture University. Beijing is obviously Beijing. 语言
That's language.
That's language, right?
Yes,
And then
语言
大学 is university. Where's the culture part? I think shouldn't this just be
It's
Beijing?
translation. Formal translation of Beijing 语言大学 is Beijing Language and Culture University. I think it's because there are a lot of cultural aspects included in the courses of the university. Yes, yet when it's named, when it got its Chinese name, it does not include that in. So
Okay.
when it's time to formally translate it into English, people believe it's better if you can include that information as well.
Okay.
太好了，我在北京待了1年了，这里有很多好玩的地方。
That's great. I've been in Beijing for a year, and it has so many cool places here.
Yes， 太好了。
Taihala, that's normally, wow, it's amazing.
That's
Or it's really
amazing.
good, or it's really amazing. It's too good.
Can you think of another way to say that?
Wait. I know one. Tai Bangla.
See, that's the one I'm thinking.
Tai Bangla, okay.
太棒了 or 真棒 great.
Zhenbang, right.
You got it. See, give you a little bit time, and I encourage our listeners to do the same thing. When I ask Tony to think of a word, you can hit the pause button and think of a word yourself and see if you and Tony are telepathically synced. Or maybe if you got enough vocabulary
Or they're beyond
Chinese.
me.
Just, hit the pause and think about a word, and you'd be surprised how many Chinese words you already know.
Yeah. All right, and then next up is 我在北京. I think it's like I'm in Beijing.
Yes.
And then 待, I think this is stay.
It's
so
stay.
待了, stay. I've been staying. And then 一年了, so 1 year.
1 year.
So I've been staying in Beijing for 1 year.
Yes, 我在北京待了1年了. This is actually a very useful word.
Yeah, I
待
think so.
So if I want to say, I'd like to stay at home, how'd you say that?
Oh, you're asking me now.
I'm asking you now.
Okay. 我要待家.
我要待在家. I'd like to stay at home.
我要待在家.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
What if I want to say, stay here, don't go anywhere?
I know 这里 is here.
Uh-huh.
So 待这里.
待在这里. See,
待
you always
在.
miss the
Oh, the
at.
在.
Yeah,
Okay.
the 在. It's a little bit tricky, but see, here we don't have the 在 because 待了1年 is I've stayed here for a year.
Right.
You can also say 我待在北京1年了. So if you put the 待 before the place you're staying in, you need the 在. But if you put it after, you don't need it anymore.
Oh, okay.
Very useful one. 待了1年了, stayed for a year. 这里
这里, this is here. 有很多, so it has a lot. 很多 is a lot. And then 好玩.
好玩.
I think that's supposed to be fun, right?
Yeah, 玩 is play. So playful. Playful places.
Playful 的地方. So 地方 is place.
Yes. This is a oral conversation, which makes it less formal. So 好玩 is not something you would see in a book, perhaps, or in any written form of articles. Yet 好玩 playful, it's very useful in your daily language. Playful 好玩的地方, playful places, or fun places. 他这个人很好玩, he's a fun person. You can also say that.
Oh, say that again slower, please.
他是个好玩的人. He is
好玩的人.
a 好玩的人.
Okay. 明白.
可是我现在有点紧张，不知道该准备什么。
But I'm a bit nervous now. I have no clue what I should prepare. 可是, this is a different way to say but.
Yeah, what's the other way you're thinking?
但是.
Perfect.
Yeah, or just 但.
See, you know 2 answers to my 1 question. You're making me proud, Tony Reed. Very nice. 但是
You're
yes.
making me blush. All right. 我现在, so that's I now.
I right now.
有点, so a little.
A little.
And then 紧张.
紧张
This is nervous.
Nervous.
Or anxious, right?
我有点紧张. I'm a bit nervous. How to say don't be nervous?
别紧张.
别紧张 perfect. You can also say 不要紧张.
不要紧张.
Both work.
And then 不知道, that's I don't know. 该 is that short for 应该?
Yeah.
So then I should, right?
Should.
准备什么? 准备 is normally like ready or prepare,
Uh-huh.
right? And then 什么 is what. So I don't know what I should prepare.
What I should prepare. 不用担心，有我呢。
That's don't worry, I'm here for you. So 不用 means don't use or
Don't need.
don't need, right?
Well, actually, in Chinese, 要 has many meanings, one of which is need to. And you can say 不要, don't, like I said, 不要紧张, don't be nervous.
Yeah.
And you can also say 不要担心, don't worry. But we can also use the word 不用, you don't need to. 不用. For instance, if I say thank you, how do you reply to 谢谢?
不客气.
不客气, yes. There's another one.
不用谢.
不用谢, here it is. You use 不用. Don't need to thank me.
Oh, but you can. Doesn't that also mean you don't use thanks? Right?
Well, it means don't
'Cause
need.
usage is 用 too, right?
Yeah, but actually it's a way to reply to thank you. So 不用谢 is you don't need to thank me. If you say 不要谢, don't thank me, that sounds a little weird, right? Right?
Sorry.
That's the thing, because 不要 and 不用
I don't need your thanks.
I know, it's just wrong. So 不要 is don't do something, whereas 不用 is there's no need to do something. That's why we say 不用谢. And there are other examples. For instance, I can say 孩子不用买票.
Children
Don't need to.
need
买
buy
票门票.
门票 It's like a ticket of some
It's a
sort, right?
ticket. So for children, you do not have to buy a ticket. So there's no need for children to buy a ticket. If you say 孩子不要买票, you're saying to the parents, no, don't buy your kid a ticket. They're not allowed in anyway.
Oh, geez.
So it's not nice.
Okay.
That's the difference between 不用 and 不要, though they sometimes can both be translated as don't do something. Actually, 不要 is don't, whereas 不用 is don't need to. And there's another example. 你不用过去，他会过来. You don't need to go, she'll come to you. So, see, these are how do you use 不用 in a
That
sentence.
sounds very philosophical, that last one.
Yeah, you don't have
Don't
to go.
chase her, she'll come to you.
She'll come to you. Or maybe it's just, two people having an appointment, misinformation about
Sorry, I
where
took
they're
that a
meeting.
completely
But
different way.
I like your way. Your way is much deeper. All right.
Cooler, right?
It's cooler, much cooler. But now we know how to use 不用.
Yes.
So 不用担心.
And then 担心, this is worry. yeah?
Worry.
And then 有, this is have.
Have.
And then 我 is I.
Uh-huh.
And then 呢, so it's like you have me.
You have me. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, that sounds kind of nice.
All right. So any other questions?
I don't think so. I think this one's pretty straightforward.
Let's try the conversation then. 你猜怎么着？我收到中国大学的录取通知书了。
恭喜你，你要上哪个大学？
北京语言大学。
太好了，我在北京待了1年了，这里有很多好玩的地方。
可是我现在有点紧张，不知道该准备什么。
不用担心，有我呢。
Great. You're listening to Takeaway Chinese with myself, Niu Hongling, and Tony. We would love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts by email to learnchinese@cri.com.cn. Coming up next, let's learn about the preparation you need to do before you study abroad. Don't go away, so you will take some Chinese away. Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Hongling with Tony here in the studio. So Tony, before I dive into the discussion about what to prepare if you want to study in China, what did you prepare before you work abroad?
What did I prepare? I just
Make your decision and bought a ticket.
Bought a ticket. I packed my clothes. I researched the institution that I was going to be working in and the city that I was going to be living in. And of course, transportation, lodgings. I think there's a lot of things that I had to look into before I came.
But did you have to do any preparation in terms of paperwork? I mean, apply for a visa and just, do research about accommodation, stuff like that.
Yeah, lodgings and stuff like that. Yeah, I had to look into that to see if it was covered or not. Because my first stint outside of America, the lodgings were covered by the company.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, but when I came to Beijing, it wasn't. So I had to look into that. And then, of course, the visa paperwork, submitting all of the documents took an eternity.
The reason I ask that is because for some students who have not studied abroad, they would have no idea what to prepare, even for visa, because, to start with, visa would be a 签证. 签证 is visa. And also, to start with, you're going to have your own passport. That's 护照.
Yes,
护照. So with your 护照, you can apply for a 签证. And normally, there are different types of 签证.
Yes, lots of different kinds of visas. There's the Z visa in China, which is a working visa.
Ah, that's the one you have.
That's the one I have, yeah.
And also there's the X visa. The X visa is a study visa. And there are different types. For instance, the X1 visa is a long-term convertible visa and must be converted into a residence permit within 30 days after entering China. And also there's the X2 visa, which is a short-term non-convertible visa. A holder of such visa is only allowed to go to China and back once and stay in China for 180 days at most. So if you're applying only for, let's say, 5 months of short semester, you can apply for that one. So you should do research about the kind of visa you should apply. 签证, and we say 申请签证. Apply for.
申请
签证. It's very important. Hold close with your visa and your passport. Your passport is basically your identity of
your bloodline.
identity.
You lose that and you're in trouble.
Proof of identity.
I'm just joking. You could get another one at the embassy in your country if you lose it, but it takes time.
It takes time.
And
it's also
inconvenient.
You don't have to carry your passport all the time with you in person, right?
Not really, but if you want to go into official institutions, some museums, not many, but some of them require that you need to bring a passport. If you want to travel, if you want to take the train or something like that, you need your passport.
Yeah, it's the same thing with us, with our ID card. 我们的身份证 identity card. It's the same thing. You don't have to carry it with you all the time. Yet, if you're going to places, you need it. And also, if you're going to hospitals, you're going to need your passport.
Right.
护照. Yes. And the second thing is you need to make sure you closely connected with the school that you got admitted to so that there are more information. And for instance, you would have information such as your major, duration of studies, and language used in teaching, and registration information such as time, place, materials needed for the freshman registration. Having all that information would help you better prepare. And also, when you're asked all the questions from the custom or any other relevant departments, you would know the answer.
Yes, it's very important. And another thing that's important is really tempting to do when you go to other countries is if there is an opportunity to work as a student, you may want to think again because you're not supposed to do that. And if you're caught doing that, you could have some form of penalty.
Yeah, because you're holding a student visa.
Yeah.
You do not have a work visa,
right,
which would generate that problem. That's a really good tip. Thank you, Tony.
Something that a lot of people consider doing, and some people do, do it, but it's a huge risk, and if you're found out, then there could be heavy repercussions. So
not
be
good.
Careful. How do you say be careful in Chinese?
小心点儿。
小心
点。小心点。Take care.
Okay.
Be careful. And then, of course, we need to find a place for you to live. Actually, you need to find a place to live. So, 住宿.
住宿. What is 住宿?
住宿 is accommodation.
Okay. Accommodation. 住宿.
住宿.
And 公寓?
公寓, that's apartment.
Okay.
You can stay in an apartment. And there's always 学生宿舍.
学生
宿舍. So, students accommodation. Students dormitory. Well, for international students, especially if you are applying for a graduate study, I'm not really sure there will always be student dormitory for you because sometimes there are limited
Age limits?
No, not age limits, but limited rooms. So if you apply really early in time, it'll be easier for you to find a place in the schools. But sometimes it's also nice to rent a place for yourself. It depends.
Yeah.
So the idea is that you need to talk to your university, figure out whether or not they offer student dormitory and figure out how much is it, because there are really, really cheap ones. Anyway, you need to figure out the situation because there are some pretty decent dormitories with bathrooms for yourself and showers and stuff. Really nice.
So just so that people can know, how do you say really, really cheap and then really, really expensive? 太贵了 is super expensive, right?
But you cannot say 太贵了 to your school. They're not going to.
They're not going to change the price.
No.
It's not bargaining.
Not bargaining at all.
But how do you say something is really cheap?
太便宜了.
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 Okay.
I don't think that phrase is used very often in real life. If it happens, you will think about it deep down in your heart, but you're not going to say it out loud. You'll say, okay, thank you. 谢谢谢谢谢谢.真好, very good. You're not going to say, 太便宜了. Don't say it out loud.
Well, for a dormitory, that's 450 yuan.
I know.
That's really, for a year, I mean, that's...
For a semester, so half a year.
Half a year. Even then, it's
Still,
really, really
yes,
cheap.
very cheap. So depends. It depends. Well, I guess the more expensive, the better the condition. So some people would like to, for example, rent a place because they need the space, they need to stay with themselves. And
Privacy.
Maybe the privacy.
How do we say privacy?
隐私.
隐私.
Or
我需要隐私.
You can also say 我需要私人空间, my private place, my private space.
Okay, 空
间, space.
Okay.
So that's accommodation. And one other thing I think is very important is to get vaccinated and prepare some common drugs that you use. Because I think one thing about studying in a different country is that perhaps sometimes the medical condition or the protocol is not as same as yours.
Oh, of course.
Yes. And also the dose of drugs and the kind of drugs are not the ones that you're used to, which I don't think it's a good or bad kind of thing. It's more like you're not used to that way of
it depends, right?
Healing your body.
If
Yeah,
you're
it depends.
someone who needs a lot of medication to get by, but maybe some of the medications that you take may not be able to, may not be allowed in certain countries.
Yes, and also somehow maybe you are not familiar with local language just yet. You do not know the name of your drugs, and it will be hard for you to buy one in maybe the first several weeks.
Right.
Which makes it a wise choice for you to prepare.
Bring your own. As much as you can and self-medicate. I know that sounds bad, but
no, don't self-medicate. Because I think most Chinese schools provide insurance, medical insurance for students. So you're pretty much covered. It's better safe than sorry. So prepare your own meds.
Yes, I think that's sound advice. Good advice. How do you say good advice?
很好的建议.建议 advice.
Okay, 很好建议.
What other things that you think people should prepare for themselves before they come to China and study?
Well, I think you mentioned quite a few things, but here in China, I've had to adjust to technology, and that's using certain apps. I was never really big on
WeChat,
like Facebook and WeChat and this type of thing, but I've had to here because this just makes life a lot more seamless.
Yes.
So I think getting on some of the apps, WeChat is definitely a must-have because everyone communicates via WeChat, and you can also receive and send money on WeChat as well.
Yes, so we need the kind of applications helping you to communicate with others, and also the payment applications. Some people would also apply for Alipay, which makes it easy for them to shop online. Shopping online, getting your delivery, food on your doorstep. Really nice experience here in China.
Yes.
Totally enjoy it.
I agree. Wai mai is the term for food delivery, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
外卖.
Yeah. So these guys, you need to have this app as well. And there's a few of those, right?
Yes.
饿了么,
See, you're really
点评,
good.
right? Or 点评.
点评.
点评, right?
点评 is the one that you use when you're already at the restaurant and you want to know whether or not it's good. It's kind of like Yelp.
Yeah, it's like a review,
review
app where
app.
you're like, oh, want to stay away from this one. Or, oh, this one,
Interesting.
非常好.
Yeah.
Let's
So,
go here.
and of course, there are a lot of Chinese language learning apps and dictionary apps. You can play with your phone a little bit before you come to China. It'll help you figure out what to do in advance.
Yes, it would be good to get a leg up on the language for sure.
Yes, and for our dear friends out there, if you have any questions or problems about preparing for your study here in China, you should definitely leave a message and ask your questions. Hopefully, we've covered enough. And if you have some good tips to share with fellow students who are thinking about or even already planning on a study trip here in China, make sure you also leave a message to them so they are going to have an edge before even come.
Absolutely. And take a look at some of the prior episodes that we've done on a lot of different subjects that could be really helpful too.
Will be helpful. And that brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Tony here in the studio. For more episodes of the show, you can visit our website at radio.cgtn.com and go to the column podcast. You can also listen to the show and read the script there.
And you can find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and much more. Just search for Takeaway Chinese and don't forget to leave your questions, comments, and ratings.
感谢收听，我们下次再见。
再见。